Chapter 10, Part 1, Kidnap on the California Comet by M.G. Leonard and Sam Sedgman. Chapter 10, Sherlock da Vinci. Help! Zola shrieked, pivoting and running back to the Silver Scout. We need help! Uncle Nat vaulted over the low fence, sprinting after the car as it sped away. Woody was right behind them. Mason chased after them. Hal dropped to his knees, ripping his sketchbook from his pocket and slamming it down onto the tarmac, scrabbling for a clean page. His fingers gripped the pencil so hard the lines didn't flow. He took a breath and tried to calm the fear racing around his body. The car took shape on the page, scuffed and dented, the number plate in his mind's eye. A stripe across the top. The word Ohio, then 3 words, birthplace of aviation, the letters FWW, and then 4 numbers, 983, hashtag. The 4th number wasn't there. It had been scratched out. He took another breath and focused on the dark figure dragging Marianne backwards. He closed his eyes. He noted the height difference, the shape of the body, Marianne's posture, their feet. Hadley stood over him, watching silently. Hal finished and stared down at his picture. "What's that?" Hadley tapped him on the shoulder and pointed at a car. Hal looked and saw a white piece of paper tucked under the windscreen wiper of the vehicle next to the car that had taken Marianne away. Hadley ran over to it. A crowd of alarmed and curious journalists burst out of the Silver Scout behind a distressed August Razor. There was a hubbub as everyone asked questions at once. Zola stood before Marianne's dad, breathless and visibly upset. "She was taken! Your daughter! There was a man in a car over there!" She pointed to the car park. "They've gone! Oh, August, she's been kidnapped! Marianne!" August Razor cried, lurching forward, running into the car park, looking about wildly as if he might be able to see his daughter. "Marianne!" he called into the night. "Marianne!" Hal felt sick. Why hadn't Uncle Nat been watching her like he'd promised? What had happened to Woody? Uncle Nat ran back into the car park, followed by Mason. He went straight to August Razor. The car turned right into Pacific Street, then went north on South 10th Street. He gasped. It was a Chevy, dark red, maroon. I couldn't get the plate. He paused to catch his breath, and Hal heard sirens. Woody called 911. August Razor turned in a circle, not knowing what to do. He looked up and howled in helpless anger at the night sky. "Marianne!" Hadley waved Hal over to the car. "It's a ransom note," she hissed. Hal saw a message written with cut-out newspaper letters. "We mustn't touch it. It might have fingerprints on it." Hal nodded and quickly copied the message into his sketchbook. He felt like he might throw up as he wrote down the cruel words. "Uncle Nat," he called out, "there's a note here for Mr. Razor." He pointed at the windscreen. Woody came running back into the car park, ashen-faced. "Where is she?" August shouted at him. "Where is she?" Woody shook his head and lifted his empty hands. "I took my eye off her for 1 minute. She wanted a drink." "You're fired!" August shouted, running away from the bodyguard. "No!" He turned back. "You're not fired. You're not going to rest till we've found my little Mary and brought her home safely. Then you're fired." Woody looked at the ground, and Hal saw a pained expression on his face. "Get everyone away from here and into the station till the police come. No one is leaving." "August, come here. You need to see this," said Uncle Nat. "Ransom note?" August's voice was abrupt as he struggled to contain his emotions. Hal nodded and stepped back to let him read it. "Don't touch it, sir," Hadley said softly, "in case of fingerprints." He scanned the paper without lifting the wiper. "Greedy lowrifes!" His voice was a rasp, and with a yell he raised clenched fists and brought them down on the bonnet of the car with a bang. "They won't get far," Uncle Nat said with quiet certainty. "The police will find her." The night blazed with red and blue lights as a squadron of police cars pulled into the car park. August Razor stepped out to meet them, a lone silhouette. "Hal, are you okay?" Uncle Nat put an arm round his shoulders. Hal shrugged it off. You were supposed to be watching her. He felt a surge of anger. Didn't you believe me? I did. I thought she was safe in the Silver Scout. I took my eyes off her only for a minute. Hal looked away. I'm so sorry. He put his hand on Hal's arm, and Hal felt himself shaking. I got the number plate, he said gruffly, his voice thick with emotion. Really? Yes, the car had a dent in the rear right fender, and the tyres were almost bald. The person dragging Marianne backwards was short, only 3 or 4 inches taller than Marianne. They were dressed in black, so it's hard to say, but, well, I think it was a woman. What? Why? I can't be certain. I couldn't see her hair or face, as she had on a balaclava and a black hoodie, but her feet looked small, about the same size as Marianne's. We should see if there are footprints in the dirt. The thing that gave her away was the shape of her body, the waist and the curve of hips. Hal nodded. Yes, I'm certain it was a woman. Wow, Hal's got really good powers of observation, hasn't he? Mason and Hadley, who were standing nearby, listened to the exchange with their mouths open. How did you see all of that? Hadley asked, as Uncle Nat guided the 3 children towards the squat, flat-roofed station. Hal shrugged. I look at the shape, size and scale of things when I'm drawing. It's like my brain takes a photo of something and then my hand is the printer. I don't notice details, though, until I'm drawing them. If I talk before I draw, if you ask me to describe something with words, my memory gets blurred and I'm not certain of what I saw. Dude, Mason exclaimed, you're like Leonardo da Vinci and Sherlock Holmes rolled into one. Ah, that explains the title of this chapter, doesn't it? Sherlock da Vinci. Leonardo da Vinci is a very famous painter. He painted the Mona Lisa. And Sherlock Holmes is a very famous, but a fictional, detective who solved lots of difficult crimes. I'm not, Hal replied feelingly. Sherlock Holmes would have worked everything out before Marianne was kidnapped. Faces gathered in the windows of the Comet like bunches of balloons. Passengers pressed their noses to the glass, trying to see what was going on. You're visualising that bit. Faces gathered in the windows of the Comet like bunches of balloons. I like that description. Hal, Mason and Hadley went into the station, finding it crowded with the journalists from the Silver Scout, whispering intently to each other and making phone calls. Hal scanned the crowd. Looking for someone? Mason asked. Ryan, Hal said through gritted teeth. He knew this was going to happen and he did nothing. That's not true, Hadley said. He tried to tell you, didn't he? Maybe that's all he could do, Mason added. Where is he? Hal's eyes rescanned the crowd. I walked through the whole train looking for him, and he's not out here either. Okay, I'm going to leave it there for today. More tomorrow. Bye for now.